So everybody, welcome to a new year of Workshop Wednesdays. We're really excited to have everybody here today. As we mentioned, last quarter, we're alternating between a couple of different things. So generally speaking, the first and third months of the quarter, we're going to be showing FleetCommander specific topics to help you better understand the system and get more out of it. And then during the second month of the quarter, we're going to be focusing on getting more from a utilization standpoint, so how to use the system more effectively. We hope you enjoy today's presentation. As I mentioned, this is our monthly knowledge series dedicated to all things FleetCommander. We always hold it at the same time so that you can plan this in your calendar. So it's always the third Wednesday of the month, from 2 to 3 Eastern. Please at the end of the presentation and in the deck that you get from us, there will be a QR code, and we would really, really, really like you to submit some feedback to us. It takes about a minute. If you would give us your feedback in the survey, tell us what you think and tell us where you need help or what you'd like to see, that would be great. We do record the webinar, and we will be sharing a copy of the recording and the deck tomorrow. So, be on the lookout for that. And if you, for some reason you don't get it, just please reach back out to us and we'll make sure that you do get it. Mics are basically muted during the presentation. So if you have a question, we'll be focusing on the chat, and the chat will be monitored during the presentation. For those of you that have been with us in the past, it's, again, we're using Teams, so it's pretty straightforward. In the top menu bar of Teams, you can see the little chat icon, and we'd ask you to just tell us a little bit about you, so who you are and what your question is. That would be great. And you'll also see that there's I believe still a link there for the survey as well. Okay. Today's agenda is being managed by Jon Roodschild. Jon's our client success manager at Agile. He's very knowledgeable about FleetCommander, and he's going to be walking through the maintenance reservation process, why you should do it, the different types of it, and essentially how to go about making maintenance reservations. So with that, Jon, I'll hand it over to you, and have a great presentation.
Excellent. Thank you, Joe, for that introduction, and thank you everyone for joining us again for our January Workshop Wednesday. We're excited to be rolling this out as we've entered into the new year, and we are excited about the content that we put together. But as Joe mentioned, the content is going to be geared towards what you want. So later on in the presentation, you're going to get to see a snapshot of what we're intending on presenting through the year. But if there's something else that you really are passionate about, what you really want to have some more information on, please respond to that survey link. Like Joe said, there's going to be access to that at the conclusion of the presentation and also in the chat window itself. So as you can see, today's presentation is why you should be using the maintenance usage type in FleetCommander, or how to make maintenance reservations in FleetCommander. Agenda-wise, what we're looking at in regards to what is a maintenance reservation in FleetCommander, what are the benefits of the maintenance reservations, some of the configuration that you'll need to make sure that is set up in order to successfully make those reservations in FleetCommander, or you might want to modify some of these if you are currently using the maintenance reservation. And then we will demonstrate actually making the maintenance reservation both through the deck, and we'll also walk it through our new CS Agile Fleet website. So with that being said, let's jump into this in regards to what is a maintenance reservation in FleetCommander. Well, first of all, the maintenance reservation is a reservation that accounts for the time that a vehicle is going to be out of service due to either preventive maintenance or repairs. This is a feature that I believe a lot of our clients, unfortunately, are not taking advantage of. When we visit clients, when we look at sites and all, there's oftentimes there seems to be a kind of a disconnect in regards to the purpose of the maintenance reservations, and a lot of clients are not using it. I actually used it all the time while at Indiana University. We would use maintenance reservations to schedule out vehicles for oil changes. So I knew that when those were going to occur, and also used it for body work. Inevitably, a student group would end up, literally taking the a restaurant drive-through seriously and drive through the restaurant, and then I'd have to actually schedule out a vehicle for weeks on end to get vehicles repaired at the body shop. Well, the maintenance reservation allowed me to actually account for that vehicle during that time frame. The maintenance reservations in FleetCommander, they're distinguished from other reservations by the use of maintenance usage types, and I'll point that out as we go through the presentation today. It really is the key function there of that usage type maintenance is to capture the time that those vehicles are going to be not available to be used for vehicle sharing. What maintenance reservations are not is that they're not in any way dependent upon having or making use of Agile Fleet's maintenance module, which would involve also the shop manager definition tabs, or even the inside your asset profile, the maintenance tab. Maintenance reservations really have nothing to do with that. We would love for you to make use of our maintenance module if you're not currently doing that, and if you're interested in expanding your use of FleetCommander to include the maintenance module, and so you could take advantage of tracking the costs of repairs and maybe even parts or items like that. Reach out to myself or Joe or to Kathy, and we'd be happy to assist you with that. But maintenance reservations really there's no connection there to the maintenance module itself. And I think some think, well, maybe I can't be using maintenance reservations because I don't actually have the maintenance module. That's not the case. The maintenance reservations are for all of our clients to be able to use within FleetCommander. Benefits of the maintenance reservation. Well, there's a lot of benefits for using the maintenance reservation. One, within FleetCommander, when you make reservations for maintenance, you'll be able to monitor those through the dashboard, and you'll be able to see which vehicles show as appearing in maintenance. You'll have access to review when a vehicle is going to be in the garage or when it's going to be back into fleet. You can manage that through the managed screens, and we'll show that in just a few moments. You have the benefit of being able to really control vehicle assignments. A vehicle won't accidentally be assigned to a reservation when you assign it to a maintenance reservation. So that's a real key portion that is oftentimes overlooked within vehicle sharing with FleetCommander, is that if a vehicle is not accounted for the time it's not available to be rented, it could accidentally get assigned to a reservation when it shouldn't. But with that maintenance reservation, that takes care of that problem. With the maintenance reservations, you're having a better, stronger control of your data integrity. It calculates the amount of time that a vehicle is out of commission. We have the ability, when a vehicle is put onto a maintenance reservation, to be able to show that within several reports, which we'll show that to you in a moment. And also you have the ability to bill or to put service charges onto those reservations. Some of our clients actually are doing that with their maintenance reservations. They're accounting for things like mileage that is done during the time of that repair that's being done for like an assigned vehicle or such. These are benefits to the maintenance reservation, and I'm going to demonstrate these as we move forward. First of all, that monitoring via the dashboard with pop-ups. This is a really powerful portion where you can just jump right into FleetCommander and see the status of your of these vehicles. And let me just demonstrate that to you actually by pulling up here our CS site. You can see here that there, from your dashboard, there are these self-populated links here that demonstrate, pending requests, change requests, cancel requests, late pickup, or late for returns. Well, you might not have ever really considered this section down here, particularly for if you're not using vehicles, the maintenance reservation right now. But there is a link that is hyperlinked that shows you which vehicles are currently in maintenance. Before I show that to you, I want to show you this other link here too that's really helpful. It's the vehicles in use. What happens is when you click on that, it will show you all vehicles that are currently out on reservations based upon the filters that are displaying this dashboard. And what this shows is vehicles that, not that they're going out for the day necessarily, but vehicles that are in use on this day. Now, this vehicle in use pop-up window, when you compare it, if you take a look here, we've got a couple of vehicles right now that are scheduled to go out for repair today. When you hover over this one in particular, you see that vehicle 1055720 is out in the shop. But if you look down through here, it's not listed, and that is by design, in the same fashion that this vehicle that's returning today, that is a maintenance reservation, which is vehicle 1038714, this doesn't show up on here. And the reason why is because it is actually accounted for within the vehicles in maintenance. So that you pop up this window here, and you can see then that you've got vehicle 1055720 that is going out at 3 p.m. for maintenance. And it also shows you then vehicle number 1038714 that is coming back. So that's the use of this from the dashboard for accounting for your maintenance reservations. It populates right there. Now, in addition to this, you'll also see that we have not just monitoring by the dashboard, but also monitoring via the managed screens. And I'm sure that you're familiar with the managed screens. They're a critical part of operating using FleetCommander. If you click here on your managed screen and you go to Fleet, you can actually take a look at what vehicles are have reservations that are maintenance reservations, regardless of if it's something that they're out right now or something that might be in the future, or something that might ones that were in the past. Let me demonstrate that for you real quick. Actually, I'm going to, instead of Fleet, I'm going to do reservations. And when you click on reservations, you can see here that right now it's not sorted to in any particular way or filtered in any particular way beyond all usage types. So what we want to look at here is we're going to take advantage of the filter portion of FleetCommander, click on usage type, and we'll leave our status the same and hit filter. And what we find here is we've got the two vehicles that we looked at earlier that was accounted for from the dashboard, the 1038714, which is returning today, and also the one that's going out today. But we also have the ability to view vehicles, other reservations that were maintenance reservation, including future ones, which would be accounted for in the status approved. So we see we have a maintenance reservation scheduled for February the 17th. But we also, interesting enough, have two maintenance reservations that somehow fell through the cracks. This one particular is late for return. So it might be that this reservation ended up for this maintenance repair took longer than expected. In that case, you can see, well, I'd really need to catch up to the 18th today. You can go into the reservation, change the modify the return date, and then be more up to have a better idea of the status of that particular repair. There's also then this one that actually never got dispatched. It may be that the situation's changed, that service provider was not going to be able to accommodate the 17th from yesterday. Well, you can go in and make those changes by clicking on the link, clicking on modify, and changing the dates on that. So that's a monitoring reservation, maintenance reservations through the reservations, managed reservations But you can also, in addition to that, have the advantage when you set up maintenance reservations to be able to look at them based upon the managed fleet view. And that's what's demonstrated by this slide right here. Let me jump back to our site here and click on the fleet. And what you'll see is that my default view has this looking at it as the day view on this. But when I go and change to an hour view and hit refresh chart, what we'll end up seeing here is that we have this view that gives us a better breakdown. Well, whenever I view all types, actually, let's just do, let's see, small. Yeah, we'll do all types. What we end up seeing here is ones that are blocked out with the M. And as you hover over there, you can confirm that you can see that that is maintenance reservations on that. So you're not just simply looking at the fleet and seeing the dispatch status or the return dates on that, but you actually can see really quickly through the keys that these particular ones are maintenance reservations. Speaking of keys also, if you ever want to have a better understanding or some of these things don't make sense, click on the legend and it's going to show you then what these are on that. So that is one of the benefits of having your maintenance reservations in FleetCommander, because you can monitor that through the dashboard. You can monitor that through your managed reservations and also through your managed fleet. Another advantage in regards to having your maintenance reservations within FleetCommander is that you can actually also monitor them through various reports. This report here is the asset in and out report, which is a really awesome report because you can get a printout of, in essence, what we just showed you through the dashboard. And as you run the report, the results will be displayed either in HTML, if you choose to do so, which is what the screenshot is, or you can also run it as an Excel file. That's the case with most of our reports in FleetCommander. You have those two options. In this case, based upon the filters that were selected early there when you ran the report, you can run this report so that you're going to see all vehicles that are going out for that particular day or date range, all vehicles that were returning during that date range, and then also a snapshot of what vehicles were in maintenance during that time frame with their departure and anticipated return dates on that. So let me show that to you here within FleetCommander and our site. That's reports, reservations, asset in and out. And as you can see, what we can do is we could run this back it up to yesterday's date on that. I'm going to go ahead and select for my site the transportation services. Those of y'all that work within a domain that is shared by a lot of other organizations, this is one of those portions there that, depending upon your admin setting, particularly if you have enterprise setting, you only want to look at a particular site. This is definitely where you want to make sure that you run your reports based upon the site that you're wanting to focus in on. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of results that may not be pertinent to the task immediately at hand. I'm going to go ahead and run this with vehicles going out, returning, and in maintenance, so you can just take a see of what that looks like. And what it ends up presenting to us then is, again, for the transportation services site, it has the vehicles that are leaving between this time frame, the vehicles that were returning during that time frame, and then as you can see, grouped together then is your maintenance in and out records, the time that it went out, anticipated time of when it's coming back, and then you have comments that go along with that with those reservations. There's one item with this that say that you only want to take a look at maintenance reservations. Well, you could certainly do that. say that if you want to maybe run this for a quarter, say, let's just jump back to 2020, which is of course one of our favorite years ever. And we will run this through the first quarter of 2020 to see what we've got here in regards to specifically maintenance reservations. So in this case, again, I'm going to leave it as transportation services for my site, but I'm going to go ahead and unclick the vehicles going out, vehicles going in, because this vehicles in maintenance is going to capture everything that we want to know, particularly for that quarter. So I'm going to hit generate report. And as you can see, those first two sections have dropped off. There's nothing to be shown there. It's only maintenance reservations for that entire quarter. So that's a really great feature within FleetCommander to be able to, if you need to present what vehicles were in maintenance during X amount of time frame, you can have it right there. And again, as I mentioned, this can be run in Excel or HTML or within Excel on that. So that's the asset in and out report. Another report that we have, and these are screenshots of basically what we just covered there. You'll be able to reference that on your own if you want to review the deck without listening to me go through the recording all over again. But another report that's tied into with maintenance reservations is the motor pool utilization report. This is found in reports statistics motor pool utilization. When you choose your date range on that, you're going to be presented with results that look like this. And what this shows you is over the course of a specified time. In this screenshot here, we're talking September the 2nd through October the 2nd, and this is just a small section of that time frame. But what you see here is that it shows you on a specific date during that time range, vehicles that were active, vehicles that were in maintenance, and then ultimately what vehicles were truly available to be used, and what was in use during that time frame. We have highlighted here the vehicles in maintenance because your vehicles available is going to be determined by how many vehicles were in maintenance during that time frame. So you can see here on the 6th, you had a total of 16 vehicles in this example that are active vehicles in FleetCommander, but you had on the 6th one that was had a maintenance reservation. And so within the what ends up happening is that FleetCommander deducts that vehicle from the vehicles that were available, so that you really have a better understanding to say that yes, on the 6th we had 8 reservations. We're able to fill that with 15 vehicles. And as you can see also, as it spans across here, that you have it calculates that based upon that day. Now, as it's noted here down at here in the vehicle maintenance notes, a reservation, if a reservation if a vehicle has maintenance reservations on it, then it will only account for that line will only count for those vehicles which were in maintenance on that day, and that there's no other maintenance reservations on that vehicle for that same day. And so ultimately what ends up happening is that this number here is truly reflective of the vehicles that were available for that day, and it's not accounting and saying, well, you say you have a vehicle that goes out, is out for maintenance one day, and on that same day it goes back out. Well, the numbers, your available vehicle numbers are not getting mixed together with that maintenance reservation. And one other item I just wanted to point out is that anything that is in blue is actually a hyperlink. So when you click on that on the actual report that you run, not on the screenshot, but when you're on the report that you run, it will show you, what were your active vehicles. And in a pop-up window, it will show you when you click on it what was the vehicle that was in on a maintenance reservation for that day. So this is a really great report to use to check and review those vehicles that are in maintenance. Another benefit in regards to putting your reservations in FleetCommander for your maintenance reservations is if there is a need for you to charge any of the charges for those repairs. This is a way you could incorporate that within FleetCommander. Those charges. One might be, as example here, is charges that are based upon the usage of the vehicle, specifically in this case within mileage of that. We have a client that I know specifically is using the mileage charges for their maintenance reservations, and that's the only charge that they're charging for those repairs within FleetCommander. But you could, by using the billing tab in FleetCommander, have it automatically feed in charges like ones that you know for certain, like a billing charge for mileage. You can have it calculate that for you, as is illustrated down here in the bottom, where it has the rates, and it multiplies it, on that based upon the setting. And then you can also, if you chose to do so, add additional line items to that in FleetCommander. So that's another benefit for using the maintenance reservation, is actually be able to capture those charges and be able to present that in an invoice or through your billing process on that. So how does that all work? How do you get FleetCommander to capture all this information, and so that you can go ahead and start making those reservations today? Well, there are some configurations that you need to consider and make sure that you activate. First and foremost is you need to make sure that the maintenance usage type is active on your site. By default, when we design and put together your site, there are basically two billing charges. Usage types that we have active within FleetCommander, and one is in essence a daily rental designator and for vehicle sharing, and the other one is maintenance. And so you have that ability. It's probably there on your site already. It's just a matter is it an active usage type? And you could check on that by going, if you have enterprise admin access, and that's a key portion of this. This is a lot of these settings that we're about to talk about are dependent. Your access to is dependent upon if you are an enterprise admin. But what you can do is you can look on here on usage types, and then you can see down here we have sorted towards the bottom the maintenance usage type. So you can click on that. Yours probably, if yours is not sorted, it most likely will be at the very top of your usage types. And you can see here that there are some settings that need to be clicked on when the most important ones is active. If it is not active, it's not going to show up during the reservation process when you enter that reservation. Another item that you might want to consider, and it's here that you would make those changes, is one, if you're going to want to do that billing. If you do want to be able to have the ability to add charges to a reservation either automatically or as a line item, it's within the usage type that is enabled. And you see here that for maintenance usage type on our site here, we have it activated. So you would click on that, and then you make the decision, well, how often do we want to bill for this? Well, in this case, there's only the one choice. It's the prompt after every use. But for situations like inspections or preps, then you actually have more options here, which the prompts can be varied. And this is another benefit in regards to maintenance reservations. If you want to make use of this and you're not currently doing it, is the ability to have a system track and prompt when a vehicle should be inspected upon return, or when a vehicle should be prepped upon its return. Think of inspection as being the walk around of the vehicle. It's the initial portion where you want to make sure that X, Y, and Z is checked by your staff before that vehicle is processed any further. That would be the inspection plan on that. Whereas the prep plan is the cleaning, it's the getting it ready for the next reservation on that. And as you can see, you have the ability to customize this. You don't have to have it at all. Do not prompt. And in doing so, if you leave this unchecked and you leave this as do not prompt, well, FleetCommander is never going to initiate a scheduled prep of that vehicle. But you do have the ability and the option to have it either every use. You can have it time-based after every 30 days. You can have it cycle through with after 30 days. FleetCommander is going to say, hey, this vehicle's it's been 30 days since this vehicle was last cleaned, and it will prompt that vehicle to be highlighted in FleetCommander with prep. You also can do the prep after days, after X amount of days. So say that 30 days is too long for you. You can say after 15 days or after 60 days. And same with the number of uses. And so if you choose either of those, you would have your prep parameter would be set right there. So the X value would be 15 days, you'd enter 15. 15 uses, you'd enter 15. So you have that set up for both under the prep plan and also with the inspections. So that is an option that can be set for your maintenance type. If you want to do maintenance and you want to incorporate preps, you can certainly do that. That same flexibility too, by the way, can be for any usage type. And we oftentimes are asked, well, what are the uses? Why we have usage types? Well, it really allows you to customize billing. It allows you to customize preps or inspections. It allows you to have that ability within that particular usage. So for maintenance, you may never do any preps, but for your daily use, you might, or vice versa on that. In regards to moving on with the prep plans, one really neat thing I wanted to point out to you too is that FleetCommander will not only prompt you to do a prep, but it also allow you to dictate what should happen during that prep process. And that is under right under vehicles and the prep plans. And you'll see here that right now maintenance is just a prompt without any type of instructions. There's nothing here. You could add additional ones if you want to say refuel vehicle. You could do that here and activate it. But as you can see on the daily rental usage, daily prep plan, there actually is several steps that are outlined here, including fuel vehicle walkthrough, et cetera, et cetera. That is what happens and is prompt whenever vehicles go into prep. We'll go from the dashboard here and click on again, you see here right above vehicles in use, you have in prep. And when you click on this, you can go in here and you can find this is where we find right here for this particular type for maintenance, you have your prep steps that are listed so that anybody, when they check in their vehicle, the vehicle's checked in, it rotates to prep and you can fill in your time and past, and then put in your name and the amount of mileage that might have occurred during that prep. And that takes care of that. It takes it out of prep at that point. So that's within the usage types. So the main portion of that, if you want to make use of the maintenance reservations, one, you have to have the usage type activated, and it's up to you to decide further if you want to do billing or preps with that. And this illustrates here again the checking those boxes to enable those and how to set those. Now, what's important too, next step of configuration, is you need to make sure that those that are going to be making those reservations actually have that usage type activated within their profile. You can see here that through manage users profile usage type, we've got this section under usage types. You want to make sure that your admins, your dispatchers within their profile, that they have that activated. Otherwise, they're going to start getting really nasty messages when they try to make those reservations, and the system is going to say that you don't have permissions, and it's just a kind of a headache. This allows you to be ahead of that and make sure that those that have we want to have access and the ability to make those maintenance reservations truly have that ability. Now, just for clarification, the usage type maintenance within the profile there is not the same as having enterprise maintenance permissions or even site level maintenance permissions. Those go back to, again, how this is not tied into our modules. When I said that a maintenance reservation is not tied into FleetCommander's maintenance modules, this is that same tie-in there. These permissions are specific to the module themselves for maintenance. And so you don't have to worry at all about changing or setting up maintenance permissions within the person's profile that you want to be able to make those reservations or be able to process and dispatch in and out those maintenance reservations. So don't worry at all about your permissions. It's not applicable for them to make those reservations. Another item that you might consider, and this is something that I did myself, rather than put a reservation within a person's name, because all reservations within FleetCommander are going to be logged with a requester, the person making the reservation, and then also the driver of that vehicle. And that's the same with maintenance reservations. You're going to have to put this reservation in somebody's name. Well, rather than putting in a specific person's name, you might opt to have kind of a catch-all profile and in this case, this one is designated as shop. Kathy Wellick, who's on our client success team, that was the designator that she used with her FleetCommander system. I used out of service as being mine on that, and so you can set that up. And I love the ability to add pictures to the profiles on that, and so I just went ahead and added Ted Nugent here, because I think sometimes this is how sometimes we feel whenever we're trying to get our repairs done in our shops. It just gets you all frazzled and all that. So feel free to put Ted in for yours if you are setting up a catch-all for reservations. Along with the configurations, not just does the maintenance usage type need to be set up within your administrators, but it also needs to be set up within each of your vehicle profiles. And so when you go into manage vehicles profile and scroll down to usage type, and you're going to see that maintenance is there. Make sure that the vehicles that you want to be part of the maintenance reservation rotation or scheduling are marked as such. Again, without doing that, the system is going to start popping up messages saying, are you really wanting to assign this? It helps you speed up the process and fine tune it if you're to go ahead and make sure these are marked ahead of time. A suggestion, a hint in regards to making sure all vehicles have the settings that you want them, be it the usage type or just really any item that might be fine within a vehicle profile, is to make use of the reports. that we have. For assets, there's the asset data dump. For reports, assets, asset data dump. And you can see there when you run that report, one of the columns that is extracted out of the vehicle record is the usage types. And so you could pull this into Excel. You can do a filter on that column for usage types and quickly identify what vehicles do not have maintenance in their usage type. Same thing can happen also as you in regards to your users. You could go ahead and run the user detail extra report and access that same information in a large database form, and then through Excel filter out on the column for the usage types. And we can see on this case, John Adams does not have maintenance as being a usage type. So John Adams would not be able to make that reservation for a maintenance reservation. So this would help speed up the process on that. So you don't have to go person by person, vehicle by vehicle, and check and see if it's set up properly with the right usage type. Another configuration to consider as you are setting up your system to do maintenance reservations would also be the configurations in regards to reservation emails. Now, this is found within the site settings portion, and this may be something that you've not considered before for any of your reservations in regards to how FleetCommander sends out notifications pertinent to reservations. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my site here and demonstrate you where this is at. Again, this one is a site settings. So unlike the usage types and where that's an admin only access, if you are an admin for only a particular site on your domain, this is something you could actually go into and take a look at. We're going to look at transportation services, and under reservations, you click on that tab, and you can see as you pull down this section for email notifications. And you can see that you can have the system send out reservations emails based upon these following types. Right now, we don't have any emails being sent out. You would click on, if you wanted it to be sent out for maintenance, you could do that. And what will end up happening is that an email will be generated and sent to whoever you have designated as the driver of that reservation. So say that it's necessary that you want to give a heads up to your mechanics that these vehicles are going to be serviced on that particular day. This would be a way of doing that because it'd be going to that particular person that is designated as the driver on that. You could also, if you wanted to, just overall notify whoever's your main admin of reservations. This is where you would set that. You would, regardless of your usage type, this is just for your particular site in general. You can be notified of the initial request, the change requests, and cancellations on that if you want to. Along with that, once you select this and hit, when you look at the actual usage types themselves in the automation, you can find that there are an email that can be sent out in regards to upcoming reservations. It's going to give that driver a heads up X amount of hours before the reservation starts that a vehicle needs to be picked up. Also late pickups, late return emails. You can have them copied, CC to admins and supervisors as you would see fit. You may or may not want to use that for your maintenance reservations. That's just to show you where that can be set up, but also as a reminder for those usage types where you do want that communication to be set up. Go into here, check and make sure that if you want emails sent out on your short-term reservations, your daily reservations, whatever they may be, this is where you're going to go and make those changes. Your system may not be sending those out right now. You may be thinking that it does. You can make that correction on that. These slides basically are what we just covered. One other item. This is something that you might want to consider too, both for maintenance and also for just any of your reservations, is what information is captured at the time of that a reservation is made. This is also found within the same area of the site settings under custom fields. And again, this might be something that was set up initially when your site was configured by our implementation team, and you've not considered the impact of that as your needs have changed going forward. But with FleetCommander captures basic information at the reservation level, things like the requester, the driver, the dates. Those are basic information that it will by default capture. But by the use of custom fields, which is an enterprise level setting that can be set, there are fields that can then be applied to your site level, and then from the site level be applied to certain places within the reservation process. Say it's the user, your end users making reservations. Say it's yourself as an admin making the reservation. It might be you modifying a reservation after it's been received. It might be part of the quick pick process, which we'll demonstrate momentarily. But what you do is, let's take a look at the settings here for maintenance. Right now, it's not configured. And as such, it's just simply, when you make that reservation, it's just simply going to say, who made this reservation? Who is it for? When is it going out? When is it coming back? And by the way, you can add a few comments if you want to. That's what it means for a non-configured reservation screen on that. But say you need more information. Say that you want to make sure at that time to capture the destination, possibly an account number on that. You can do that here through these columns. And as you can see, there's different instances, making an admin making a new reservation for maintenance, for a quick pick, for the times that you're modifying it after it's been entered into the system. Well, you can, by clicking on the fields, you can in those instances say, I want to be presented with this information. If you're allowing a new user, someone who's not an admin, to make those reservations, which there may be occasions that would be appropriate, although that would be rare. You can make those changes here. Quick pick is basically making the reservation from within the asset profiles. The modify is, like I said, making those changes after the fact. You can request that information, and by clicking that and hitting save, which there's one at the bottom, which is, and also here at the top. Now you see also there's this requested and required. What this is that it's the difference between requested and required is that requested simply means it's presented. There's a empty field that's labeled destination, and you're presenting it there and requesting the information. But they can either choose to put something in there or not. Whereas requested and required, this is kind of redundant. You don't have to have it marked in both columns. You just simply can come over here to requested and required, and what it does is that it presents the information to be collected, but not just presents it, it requires it. So you get a message that says you have to fill in the destination before proceeding any further. And there are instances where that will definitely be necessary. If you absolutely want to, have it and capture that information, use the requested and required. If it's something that's just simply an option, you just leave it as requested and hit save changes.
Hey, John, we do have a question.
Excellent.
In the chat. I was wondering if you wanted to take this question before you keep moving on here. So Alexandra wrote, my university has predominantly long-term rentals for up to 20 years at a time. If you wanted to make a maintenance reservation for something on a long-term rental, would I have to end that long-term rental to schedule the maintenance reservation?
No, and that is a wonderful question, and I did not put the answer of it in this deck, but I do know the answer. And what that is called is it's called overlapping reservations. And going back to our configure usage type, and let's say long-term yearly rental right here. What you would want to do is click on this, which says allow for overlap. Okay. What this does, overlap is not is simply a way to be able to accommodate exactly what you're looking at. It is a reservation that needs to fit on top of a long-term reservation. In doing that, by clicking on overlap for the main usage type, in this case, your 20, the long-term rental, activating it here would then allow you to place reservations like a maintenance reservation on top of that. And it's a good feature. Just be careful that it's only available on ones on usage types where that's really pertinent, because otherwise you could end up having reservations lapping on each other that we're not supposed to, and for like your shared vehicles, we're on that. So this is where that would happen on that. And what interesting enough too is that whenever you go into your manage fleet view, where we saw earlier with the reds and the greens blocks, and it showed maintenance on all the M's on each of those hours. Well, if it was a long-term reservation, you would, for like today, everything from yesterday and everything behind and everything for the future on that long-term reservation would have D's in each of those hour blocks until you got to the time frame where it's going to be maintenance, and then you would see the little M's on those also. So the system definitely accommodates that type of reservation for your maintenance. Fantastic question. One other item before we start showing you how to make those reservations, and as we end up wrapping up our presentation, is the billing portion of that. That is under configuration, site settings, site name, billing rates, and on that, and you would go to your specific vehicle, and then you would put in under your specific usage type, you would add those rates. And again, that is a site level setting that's displayed here and with there. And if you need help on working through that, we'd certainly CS and also our support team would be happy to assist you with that. So what does it look like making those reservations? Well, a few steps that you want to be mindful of. If you make use of FleetCommander's auto assign, make sure that you mark the vehicle unavailable. Otherwise, you run the risk of that vehicle being assigned to a reservation while you're trying to make your maintenance reservation. Unavailable is there within the asset profile. It's something to be used to temporarily disable that vehicle's access to that vehicle. Do that. Start off with you'll move any reservations off the vehicle for the time it will be in the shop. The next step would be to make that reservation using the usage type maintenance. Make sure the build-in time of extra time on the return date. If it comes back earlier, you can release it back into the pool, and it's not going to once it's checked back in. And if you shorten your maintenance reservation comes in 10 days earlier, you stop the reservation, dispatch it in that day, and then it becomes available for reservations going forward for that 10 days that you were originally anticipating it being out. Make sure that you dispatch the vehicle in and out, though. Without doing that, you're not actually accounting for your time, much like we showed earlier in regards to that vehicle that was never picked up for the maintenance repair. And then also make sure to change your vehicle back to available once you get it all set up. All that looks like this. You go into your asset profile, click on the status, click it as unavailable. All vehicles should be marked as available unless you really are not using it during that time frame. You then would go to your managed fleet, and you can go in, and by clicking on, you can move any reservations off of there if you see that there's any conflicts. In this case, we're going to make a reservation for Tesla 002. There's no conflicts there, so nothing to move on that, but you could move that if you wanted to. by clicking on the green blocks for the time frame that you want. It's going to pop up the reservation windows, including first asking you to pick your usage type. Of course, it's maintenance, and then you click next, and then at that point you put in the times, and that vehicle is going to be out. You fill in the information for who the driver is going to be. In this case, there's additional information from those custom fields that are being requested: cost centers, destinations, things like that, occupancy on that. But that does not have to be part of yours. And then at that point, you decide from is this vehicle what reservation you just made for the maintenance? Is it something that's going to be a future reservation? Not today, not right now when I made it, but actually for a couple days from now, or is it for to be dispatched immediately? Your step is going to be dependent upon that determination. You might have put in a date for 10 days from now with a return date for 20 days from now. In that case, just simply X out, and this is going to place it on the schedule 10 days out from now. Or if it's for the same date and time for dispatch it immediately by hitting submit, and it's going to have that vehicle set in FleetCommander for repair. And then finally, make sure that you click the vehicle is unavailable at that point. So let me show you that as we close out this portion live and without a net on that. Let me pull this up, and as you can see, what we can do here is go to the fleet, and you can make your reservations from here. You know, you may have a situation like, for example, where a vehicle was scheduled to go out, and this one we see here is late for pickup. You ends up finding out that it actually has a flat tire on it and it needs to be repaired. So your steps on that is that you would go to fleet. You can filter it out down to that vehicle type. In this case, that's a minivan. And I'm going to filter, fresh chart. That was SUV. Let's do minivan. Again, working out without a net. So this vehicle is late for pickup right here. So what I want to do is I want to move this onto another available vehicle. Let's say this one right here. You click on it. You can do view reservation. Hit submit. I like to always look. I could go straight into change the vehicle, but I like looking at this portion here. I will change my vehicle. It pulls up my minivans that are available to me. You can either do a drop-down menu on that, which is something that's common, or you could say, let's do the icon here. We're going to do one right there. It pulled it up. Hit assign vehicle, and that has now changed that vehicle to our new vehicle here. So we've cleared it off of the schedule, which is required in order for us to put a new reservation on that same time frame. And then we can go back into fleet. We can go back to our minivans. And then we can go back to my here, and I'm going to just simply pick my reservation. So I've got my maintenance, hit next. As you can see, in this instance, nothing configured, nothing additional, then just simply need for the name. We're going to put this out until tomorrow. So we can put the 19th. And because we're kind of hitting the time for when we need to be stopping, so we're just going to allow that to go out, hit next, and I'm going to dispatch it now. And when you refresh, you're going to see that it pops up right there as out of service. That is making a reservation. And with that being said, let's close this thing out. Joe, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Well, John, thanks again. That was a really great presentation today, and I hope everybody on the call and the webinar has a better handle and a better understanding on how maintenance reservations work and what you can do. So thanks very much for that. And John, if you want to just advance the slide, since I don't have control, that'd be great. So, as we usually talk about, in every meeting, part of what our job at Agile is to really help you and help you tell your story. And we've got a really exceptional team here of folks that are well-versed in Fleet as well as FleetCommander. And so, part of what we'd like to try and do with everyone is really spend some time, make sure that we understand your business a little bit better, and how we can help you communicate internally within your teams. So, we always encourage our clients to document their success. And, part of what we do is we come down and, we make, client visits on a very regular basis. And so, I think most of you folks will be hearing from us, during the year. But fundamentally, it's to really help understand your business at a very detailed level, some of the things and observations that we see and how we think that your accomplishments can be, as well as successes, can be communicated. So, if there is something that you'd like some assistance on, please do reach out to us, and we're happy to help you with that. And whether that's just drafting some kind of an update for your internal management, or whether you'd like to participate in a case study with us. Okay. Other ways that you can assist is to really kind of be a thought leader. So again, we've got a lot of clients that are in the same kind of verticals. So whether you're in higher ed, or whether you're in government, or in commercial fleet, there's lots of learnings that everybody can share and take benefit of. So we always encourage that as well. We've got a lot of resources that are on our, kind of our blog and website. We are redoing that right now, so stay tuned for some, exciting changes there. But, I believe that all of these links still work. So if you do need, access to resources, whether it's case studies, white papers, or other documentation, you all have access to this every day. So, please do partake. And John, next. We've talked about, Workshop Wednesday, and we've been at this for almost a year now. So it's almost happy anniversary time. And, next month, as I mentioned at the outset, we're going back to basics. So again, the second month of the quarter is really dedicated to getting into FleetCommander itself and talking about certain aspects of it to help you more effectively manage the application. And next month, we're going to be talking about managing users and managing vehicles. So that's a great session, that I think everybody should partake. And again, following with March, we're going to kind of delve back into some of the more technical items, diagnosing issues vis-a-vis logins and other common user profile issues, to get you better into it. And then in April, we believe that we'll be showing you version 5.11. So lots of great stuff coming, and we hope that you can spend some time with us as well. And then, lastly, we're your dedicated team. So, from an Agile standpoint, you've got a couple of different ways that you can get support. You can reach out to the, FleetCommander Technical Support Group. And again, I think most of you folks know that email, fcsupport@agilefleet.com, and they're available by extension 2. The nice thing about contacting technical support, if you have an issue, is that they're very efficient in triaging support cases, and typically they respond with, certainly within an hour. And generally speaking, they usually have your issue resolved within an hour. So, they're excellent at their job and at supporting you. The other nice thing about support is regardless of however you communicate with them, whether you send an email or call them on the phone, tickets are issued so that we can track any of your issues from inception to close. So it helps us and it helps you, and we don't lose track of it. And then lastly, your dedicated team. So Kathy, is with us now, and John and myself, and we're all available to you to help you with any of your needs. So if you have questions, even if it's a how do I, please feel free to reach out. If it's something that you need more guidance about, gee, I'm thinking about doing this, that, or the other thing with my fleet, we'd love to hear from you. So, please make use of our resources and of us. And again, if it's something that you'd like us to help, take a look at your fleet and what you're doing, just let us know, and we're happy to schedule some time with you. And then lastly, think about your fleet. So at the end of the day, your fleet is a very large investment by your organizations. And so our job at the end of the day is to help you really better manage your fleet. So whether that's, using FleetCommander to share more vehicles and reduce costs so that you right size your fleet, it's the gift that keeps on giving, so to speak. So every time you optimize your fleet and you reduce a vehicle, it pays back not only in CapEx, but also in ongoing operating cost savings. So it's a significant win for you and a significant win for your fleet. As I've mentioned, we've got significant, fleet industry experience to help you. If it's something where you think you need some refresher training, please reach out to us. We're happy to schedule some time to help you, better understand specific areas of the application. So whether you've got, new staff or restarting operations, we're handling a lot of clients right now that are bringing folks back in this post-COVID world. And so, folks have forgotten how to do certain things, and we can certainly schedule some time in 2, 4, and 8 hour training blocks based on what you think you need. And so generally speaking, our training is tailored to your site, or it can be general in nature if you have a broader group. When you think about odometer issues, again, if you are having lots of issues with odometer, make sure that, you think about, potential integrations with telematics. It's really your friend. It can do a lot of things in terms of helping you streamline data, improve data, efficiency, data integrity, and also reduce costs by having better information about, when vehicles due for maintenance, what the right maintenance is, et cetera. On the fuel side, again, if you have different fuel imports, whether you've got on-site fuel or commercial fuel, we've got the capabilities to handle, a wide variety of fuel imports for you. And then lastly, a couple things is, billing. A lot of our clients are taking a fresh look at billing. You may remember that FleetCommander has 5 standard billing algorithms now. So we'd encourage you to have a conversation with us if you're thinking about, rolling out billing as well. And lastly, automation is key. So there are folks, a lot of our clients today use key boxes and kiosks for process automation. And we would encourage you to think about that. Anytime you're doing things manually, there's a cost to it. And, a long-term ROI with key box is typically something that pays back within a year. So that may be something that you want to take a look at. And lastly, with that, I want to thank everybody, for attending today's call. If you do have any other questions, please let us know. The chat is still open, and we'd be happy to address any other questions. John, is anything in the window?
Well, I sent messages to everyone that had questions. Short answer on can these be made from the kiosk? Yes, they can be. However, there are additional configurations that must be done, and some additional things that you need to be mindful of, because it would be routed through the grab and go function of FleetCommander on that. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me. I can work with you on that. We'll get support to help you on that, since we did not detail it during this presentation. And then Kimberly, if you want to find out in regards to your access, if you'll please reach out to support, provided the number on that within there, the chat.
Great.
I think that's everything.
And I think the last slide of the deck is tell us what you think, please. So
that's right.
So please, oh, please tell us what you think. We've added a slide at the end, and it's got a QR code, so you don't have to remember URLs and all that good stuff. If you snap this with your smartphone, it'll bring you right into the survey, and it takes a couple of questions, but we would really love to hear from everybody about what you think about Workshop Wednesday, what can we do to make it better. Those are all very important to us. We look forward to serving you. You're our valued clients. And again, in closing, I just want to thank you for attending today, and have a great rest of your day.